5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Let's get it. All right, man, I want to welcome y'all to episode 2 of the FlemLo 5. This is a weekly show where I talk 5 football topics from any league. I take the stories, give you the latest updates on it, then give you my breakdown or my take on each topic. Now, we also include viewer questions, so be sure to hit me up in the comments section or hit me up on Twitter using the hashtag #TheFlemLo5 if you want a chance to be featured in the video. Now, y'all showed a ton of love in episode 1, and of course, I'm hoping that can continue. Episode 2 is a crucial episode for any series on YouTube. So, once again, if you digging the series, bro, don't forget, man, click the thumbs up button, hit me in the comment section, let me know what's up. All right, man, today we got a good one. Here's what we talking. Jameis Winston leading the league in yards and interceptions. A potential beast mode Seahawk reunion? What the hell is AB doing now? Unbelievable. Why on earth? Poor Jack Doyle, dog. Poor Jack Doyle, dude, keep falling victim to random violence during NFL games. First Vontaze, now this. My Cincinnati Bengals perfect the perfect tank bowl. And I want y'all to stick around to the end because we also have an honorable mention. I'm gonna be doing 2 fan questions today, one in the middle of the video and one at the end. The second one concerns Last Chance U alum Rakeem Boyd. He has made a huge decision. What are my thoughts? Coming up later. Don't forget to subscribe and enable your notifications if you're brand new, and OG subs, y'all already know what to do. Cue the way. It's starting to feel like 2015 again. The Seahawks have signed Marshawn Lynch and Robert Turbin to their roster for the playoff run. Now, rumors of Marshawn Lynch and the Seahawks having mutual interest began to swirl a few days ago, and after a quick physical, Marshawn is officially a part of the Seahawks roster once again. Beast Mode made it to 2 Super Bowls with Seattle, winning 1, and y'all know what happened during the second one, all right? Beast Mode gains like 6 or 7 yards on a run, putting the Seahawks on, I believe, the 3-yard line going in, and Seattle decides to throw the ball. So many conspiracy theories as to why. Maybe Pete Carroll just outthought himself, or maybe they didn't want Marshawn to get Super Bowl MVP because of his relationship with the media. I know some people think those types of decisions aren't made. I'm here to tell you that they 100% are. Doesn't mean it was made in that situation, but it's definitely a possibility. Now, after that Super Bowl loss and the way they lost, because literally everybody knew they should have handed Marshawn the ball, the Seahawks roster began to implode as the team really started to rebel against the organization and the coaching staff. With that said, when asked why he'd returned to Seattle, Marshawn simply said, "We've got unfinished business." And the dope thing about Marshawn Lynch is that when he says that, you know he means it. The dude is notoriously cheap, so we know he doesn't have to come back to the league or run back to the league for money. If he's doing this, it's because he wants to do it. So apparently he's eyeing a Super Bowl, and how crazy would it be if he actually was able to go back to Seattle and pull it off? If they got in a similar situation and he actually got the ball and scored, the internet would literally combust into flames immediately. And that would just be a storyline for the ages. But of course, that is the longest of long shots, and there's about a million different ways this could play out. But still, ultimately, having Beast Mode back in the league for the playoff run is a win for the league, the fans, and the Seahawks, who just lost Chris Carson to injury. All right, topic number 2. Antonio Brown. Now, AB is in an interesting space. I don't know if the crazy stunts he's pulling are calculated to gain attention and grow his brand, or if dude just wakes up and goes with whatever idea pops into his head, or if my theory was correct and Vontaze really created a monster. But dude dropped this behind the scenes of what looks to be his new music video on Twitter. Now, this is a track from his upcoming album entitled No More White Women 2020. Okay? Now, it's gonna be interesting looking back on this once we find out if this man was indeed suffering from CTE or some mental illness that is causing him to make these erratic decisions. For a guy who seems to kind of want to get back in the NFL, I don't care what anybody says, these things, like stuff like this, kind of makes you look like a crazy person. It makes you seem a bit unstable and erratic. It is a big ask for an NFL team to trust this dude with a contract. With that said, if this is a passion of AB, I mean, the man is rich. He's had a great career. He's accomplished a great deal in his lifetime, more than most people are going to accomplish. So if he just wants to have fun and kind of follow his heart at this point, I definitely can't be mad at that. The only thing I can say is that if he actually does want to get back into the NFL, he's not helping his case with stuff like this. Anyway, that's what is likely our weekly AB update, as I'm anticipating talking about this cat pretty much every week, bro, because he's always doing something. All right, bro, topic number 3, y'all know what that means. It's time for today's fan question. Now, today's question comes from Kerry Lee White II. He asked, FlemLo Raps, what should the Bucks do about the Jameis Winston situation? Hashtag the FlemLo5. Yo, shout out to Kerry Lee White for the question. Don't forget to tweet using hashtag the FlemLo5 if you want to be featured in the video. Let's get it. So there's 3 things in life that are guaranteed: death, taxes, and Jameis Winston throwing picks in every single game. The man is having a fantastic yet horrible season all at the same time. He leads the league in passing yards, leads in passing first downs. He's second in passing touchdowns, but he also leads the league in interceptions, and we're talking by a lot. Dude's on pace to become the first quarterback ever in the history of the league to throw for 30 picks and 30 touchdowns all in the same season. 30 and 30 here, all right? He's just 2 picks away from achieving that, all right? And he's already thrown 2 or more picks in 8 games this year, and he's only got 1 game this entire season with 0 picks, so we might see some history for sure come this weekend. As far as what the Bucks should do with him, his contract is up at the end of the year, and they've already said that they're bringing him back for 2020, but they wisely haven't committed to anything more than that. Basically, they're gonna tag him, either a franchise tag or a transition tag. Now, I know everybody know what a franchise tag is, but not everybody may be as familiar with a transition tag. Basically, transition tag guarantees the Bucks the right of first refusal. It means that Jameis can agree in principle to a contract with another team, but the Bucks have the right to match the offer, okay? The transition tag can be used once a year by each club unless they elect to use the franchise tag instead, which most teams usually do. But thanks to this coming offseason being the final one in the current collective bargaining agreement, teams can use both the franchise tag and the transition tag this off season, and that's where it gets interesting, okay? Because they're gonna obviously hit Jameis with one of these tags. The question is which one. Now, the Bucks also need to bring back NFL sack leader Shaquille Barrett, so if they don't agree to a long-term deal with him, they might have to use the franchise tag on Shaquille, which would mean that they'd have to use the transition tag on Jameis. Or should they do it the other way around and give Jameis the franchise tag and Shaquille the transition tag? Which of the 2 players would most likely get a competing offer sheet from another team? Jameis is as hot and cold as they come, but dude's still only 25 years old. He's gonna be 26 in January, and it usually takes quarterbacks a season or 2 to grasp Bruce Arians' system. So I get bringing him back for another season. If he can have anywhere close to the production he's had this year and maybe cut those turnovers down a bit, you're talking about a legitimate franchise QB who's only gonna be 26 years old. And as bad as Jameis can be, I still don't think you can risk putting a young franchise quarterback on that transition tag, even one as up and down as Jameis. So they should franchise tag him, and they should see if he can clean up some of these turnovers next season. That's my opinion. With that said, I want y'all to hit me up in the comment section and let me know what you think. What should the Bucks do with Jameis Winston in your opinion? All right, moving on to topic number 4, and I'm gonna be quick. I'm not going to rant and rave about this, but I definitely want to speak on it, and that is the fact that the Cincinnati Bengals perfected tanking. Now y'all already know I had to have a segment where I talk about my Bengals. We've got 14 losses on the season and none bigger than our loss on yesterday. After an amazing comeback against all odds, we ended up making to overtime with Miami, but fortunately for us, we're unable to pull out the victory, clinching the #1 pick in the draft. Now, if we would have won this game and mess around and beat the Browns next week, we would have fallen from having the #1 pick to, I think, the 5th pick. A pretty steep tumble. And you got to remember, that's not just the order for the first round. We talking the second round, third round, like that's essential. Having the first pick in the second round, you get in a fringe first rounder because it only takes 1 pick to miss out on Devin Bush. We know this. Now, here's why I think this was the perfect tank bowl season. Because our organization never admitted to actually doing it on purpose. And I honestly don't think they did it on purpose. I think this is just dumb luck. If you look at the way our team plays, man, they play hard, bro. They really do. Those dudes fight. It's because they haven't given up, because they're not playing for an organization that's sending them out there with the goal of losing. Out of 14 losses this year, 8 of those games we lost by a touchdown or less, meaning we were in the majority of those games. Now, sometimes this is just a result of Andy Dalton kind of going and score that garbage touchdown. That happened a few times, all right? I will admit it. But still, that's a pretty significant stat when you're looking at 8 games lost by a touchdown or less. That means if 1 or 2 plays go differently throughout the course of that game, we could easily have won those. So now we're talking a team internally that has hope, a team that feels like, bro, we can compete. We're a piece or 2 away. Now, the outside world might not feel like that, but that's okay. If we were doing a traditional tank, then the outside world will feel the exact same way they feel right now. But the players that are in the building and that will be on next year's roster are gonna come into that season with a lot of confidence. Hopefully the #1 pick in the draft, Heisman winning quarterback Joe Burrow, and have a pretty positive outlook on next season. We also didn't trade any key pieces. And assuming we get AJ Green under contract and healthy next year, Jonah Williams, our rookie that we drafted out of Alabama who didn't play 1 game coming back, our entire defensive line coming back, and our defensive line is the strength of the team. Not to mention other players who've emerged like Tyler Boyd, Joe Mixon, and Brandon Wilson is a name that y'all don't know, but kick return, dude was a beast, was gonna make the Pro Bowl until he got injured, but he'll be back next year as well. I'm damn sure not making no predictions here. I learned my lesson from that. All I'm saying is that there are a few pieces in place so that when Joe Burrow comes in, he's not looking at a complete dumpster fire of a roster. He's gonna have some pieces to work with in year 1, and that is a perfect tank bowl season. So congrats to my Bengals. All right, man, the 5th and final topic of the day. Vernon Butler gets ejected for punching the wrong damn person. Then the person he punched was the unlucky Jack Doyle, who's getting assaulted in pro football games constantly, as he's also the guy who got blasted by Vontaze Burfict earlier this year. Vontaze is currently serving a suspension for that. Basically, as you can see on the play, Vernon Butler gets tangled up with Mark Glowinski. As the two go to the ground, Vernon gets turned around, losing his view of Glowinski for a second. When he turns back around, the first person he sees is Jack Doyle, who Vernon then mistakes for Mark Glowinski, giving him a little punch to the face mask. Basically, Vernon felt Glowinski was doing a little extra after the play was over. Vernon's team was already getting smashed and the game had no chance of winning, and obviously frustration had set in. Now with that said, you can't go around punching cats because you're frustrated, but I did love Vernon's response to all of this. Check it out. I shouldn't have hit nobody in the first place. It's not me or my character. I want to apologize to the organization and to my teammates. The fans always talk to you. I'm sorry, I should have kept my cool. I'm a better person than that. First of all, my apology. I told Glowinski to stop all the extra stuff. I hit him the next play. I was fed up with it. It was a bang bang play. I got caught up. I thought it was 64. I take full responsibility for it, and it won't happen again. Now, Vernon was ejected from the game and may have a suspension coming down from either the league or the Panthers, but I have to at least give him credit for how he handled this thing after the fact. I've had these heated moments before. You get caught up for a moment, you see red, and you make a mistake. Unfortunately, after the fact, there's nothing you can do to change it. It's already happened. But I do like the fact that he came, he gave a real sincere apology. You can tell he felt bad about what he did. He took responsibility for it, took accountability for it. He's accepting whatever punishment comes his way, and then he's looking to move on, which is all you can do. So, shout out to Vernon for that. Like, not shout out for punching dude, but, at least shout out for how you handled it. Also, shout out to Jack Doyle, man. Like, Jack Doyle, bro. He just always managed to be the victim of these random acts of anger. All right, so we had late breaking news last night, so I decided to include this as a bonus fan question. Question comes from T-Daddy over on Twitter. He asked, FlemLo Raps, Rakeem's not going pro. Not a smart move? How do you feel? Yo, shout out to T-Daddy for hitting me up. And again, if you want to be a part of the show, make sure you hit me on Twitter using the hashtag #TheFlemLo5. So, Last Chance U alum and current Arkansas running back Rakeem Boyd has opted to go back to school. Here's what he had to say. After talking to my family and coaches, I've made a decision that is best for me to not enter the 2020 NFL draft and come back to the University of Arkansas for my senior season and finish my education. There's more left for me to do to fulfill my dreams, break more records, and bring the program back to the top. And the only way I can do that is in a number 5 Razorback jersey. I'm coming back to help turn this program around. So first and foremost, man, shout out to Rakeem. This is a very heavy decision for a young man to have to make, and he's made his. It seems like he's clear of mind. He's made his choice and he's comfortable with it, which I respect. Now, I already know what y'all think I'm gonna say, but today is a little bit different. See, there's little to no upside when you're already projected to be drafted really high. We're talking first round, top 10, maybe top 3. The higher you're already projected, the less you have to gain. Thus the term little to no upside. If you're already ranked as a top 3 prospect, there's literally 2 spots that you can move up, little to no upside. For Rakeem, it's a little bit different. From everything I've read, Rakeem is likely to have been drafted between the 3rd to 6th round. And we know it can be very difficult for running backs to get to that second contract. Now, there's going to be a new CBA soon, so hopefully it's going to change. But currently, after those first 4 years, you get smacked with a couple franchise tags, and that is a career for many running backs. So it definitely makes sense to try to get paid up front by getting drafted higher. Now, I looked around everywhere, and there's not one site that I saw that had Rakeem ranked in the top 10 running backs, okay? And on average, the way the drafts have been going, the 10th ranked running back is going to be probably a 4th rounder. So Rakeem would have come after that, all right? So for him, there's actually plenty of upside in returning to school. He actually has a really good chance of raising his draft stock to go higher. So the upside is definitely there. Like, if you go from a 4th round pick to a 1st rounder, that's major upside. Now, obviously there's risk involved as well, but looking at his specific situation in a bubble, looking at the risk reward, I think it actually does make sense. I know that's completely surprising to y'all, but that's just how I feel on this one. Now, with that said, Rakeem had a great season, man. He rushed for 1,100 yards. He scored 8 touchdowns on the ground. He averaged 6.2 yards per carry. My hope is that they allow him to catch the ball a little bit more this year, and I'm also hoping that he shows improvement in pass protection, because when I look at his scouting report, those are a couple of things that I'm seeing listed. Given the season he had this year, the offense should run through Rakeem next season, and Arkansas can't be any worse than they were this past year, at least I hope. So once again, while this is definitely a risk, it's a calculated risk, and it's one that I don't feel is fueled by emotion. I can actually see the logic in Rakeem returning to school. Yes, I know. Shocker. All right, fellas, that's going to do it for today's FlemLo 5. I hope y'all enjoyed the video. Don't forget to click the thumbs up button and share the video if you enjoyed it. If you're brand new, please subscribe and enable your notifications. That way you can catch the show every single week, along with the short documentary style videos that I do here. I got more videos popping up on the screen over here, man. So click one of those if you want to check out more content. I'm going to holler at y'all next time. My name is FlemLo Raps. 1.
Yeah, no quitter, 'cause I'ma go get it.